Coach, what did you see tonight that you haven't seen in the last in this losing streak that you've been going through?
Yeah, I mean, I think a commitment to share the basketball, right? I think with a new team, players trying to figure out what their roles are going to be, where their shot attempts are going to come from. Obviously, the lineup changed, so players kind of adjusting to where they fit in. But I thought the team and the players were just really intentional about sharing the basketball, playing together, and playing with some confidence. And that's what being at home does, especially when, we have young players that are playing vital roles in our rotation. And so being at home helps. And, we've been fantastic in this building for a long time. And so it was just good to be here tonight.
Yes, today was the first game since the Fever win, where you guys were actually up at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah.
What was different in this first quarter compared to the last 5 games?
Well, I mean, we were, like you said, we just kind of going toe to toe in Vegas. We were going toe to toe for 5 or 6 minutes, and then they finished the quarter on a 23-3 or something like that run. And so we just the ball, wasn't going in for us, and then our defense kind of followed suit. And so I think tonight, players seeing the ball go in early, it does wonders, for a team when, players work really hard to prepare themselves for games. And when they get good, positive feedback early, it helps to remain confident and feeling good. And it's definitely much better to not play from behind, by 8, 10, 12 points, whether home or on the road. It gives you a better chance to withstand opponent runs, which are going to happen throughout the course of a basketball game. The other team is always going to make some runs. And, if you're even or if you're ahead and they make a run, you have some breathing room at least to make some adjustments and get better as the game goes.
Derek, you put Katie Lou in the starting lineup today. Is that something that you envisioned when you guys signed her, that she'd be a starter for you? And then, I mean, what can you say about her performance on both sides tonight?
Yeah, I mean, the answer to the first question is yes. It's the tough decision to trade Gabby, was made easier by who Katie Lou is and what she does on the floor. The size, the length, the versatility, offensively and defensively. We just felt like it would give us an added dimension that we just have not had as much at the wing. And so, in due time, the plan was to try to find a way to get her into the starting lineup, especially starting the games with Nneka and Liz on the floor together. We want as much floor spacing and opportunity for them to dominate the paint, and for Jordan and our perimeter players to have driving lanes to get into the lane. So yeah, it was the plan for sure. And yeah, just happy for her to, show up from Spain and playing a game 30 hours later, maybe. And, and just kind of figuring out what we're doing on the fly. Like, it's not easy. Her sister Carly actually does it as well as anybody in the history of the W. But, Katie Lou was asked to do a lot in trying to catch up to the rest of the group, and just happy for her that she had a good night.
Hey, Coach. You're only your second home game, in the few weeks that the season's been on. Just how has that played a role in, this start that you've had in the recent losing streak, in terms of, getting players to gel and trying to get everybody together? How has that affected, the way the team at all, with, basically being out on the road?
Yeah.
And you're about to hit the road again.
Yeah, no, I don't think, the challenge of the schedule doesn't make excuses for, let's say, missed free throws or, poor communication on defense or something that we're still in control of, right? Even though the circumstances are really difficult. So we can't make excuses for performance. I think the strongest impact in a negative way is just in the inability to practice consistently when you are constantly on the road, and in particular, you know, the in-between days are mostly just travel days. You know, you're not going to have a ton of time to travel to the city and also practice on the same day. So just like this week, right? We played in Vegas on Monday. We play in LA on Wednesday. We play in Indy on Friday. We play in Minnesota on Sunday. We play back in LA on Tuesday. So there's no way to practice in a way that you need to in order to get better in between those games. So we're kind of scrimmaging almost in the game. Like these players are learning how to be good together in the game, not getting as much opportunity in practice. So that I feel like that's the strongest thing that we're battling in a sense to kind of learn each other in front of, 10,000 people, 5,000 people against the best teams in the league, trying to figure yourself out. Not easy to do, but it's a part of the job, and it's going to turn for us as the season goes. So we just have to stay connected, stay together, stay positive, and then we'll start to get some time that will allow us to get better. And we think that's going to bode well for us. And as we get into mid to late June and into All-Star break, we feel like we have a chance to start playing some of our best basketball.
Coach, kind of a two-part question. One, Lexi Brown came out on a training camp contract and looks like she's played her way into the starting line. Can you talk about what she's done a little bit? And also, Christy Tolliver is obviously coming back to the team relatively shortly.
We hope.
Yeah.
I mean, Dallas makes 23s tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Assuming things that work themselves out.
And I wish the team and Jason really well. Like I'm definitely not rooting against them, but we want Christy as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Can you talk about how she kind of fit in with how she's going to fit in with the current makeup of the roster?
Yeah. No. First question. Yeah, I think when we kind of had to make a trade actually to get Lexi because Chicago had her rights, and so we'd had some conversation. The timing just wasn't right. Where we were from a salary cap perspective didn't allow her to actually have a chance to make the team, financially speaking. So we kind of put the conversation on the back burner, and then when the circumstances kind of started to align, we wanted to make the move. To see if it would be a great fit. We'd seen enough of her in her career to feel that there was a chance that offensively she could help us, but I think she's underrated defensively. And that's where she's really, really added value for us along with her perimeter shooting. So just really, really just happy for her and proud of her. Like it's hard to explain what these women go through in this league when they don't actually know if they're going to be on a team, and that burden that they have to carry into training camp of trying to prove themselves instead of just being able to relax and know that, okay, my contract's guaranteed. There's enough roster spots, whatever the situation is, where you can actually see the best of them. So I'm just really happy that she persevered through camp and has proven herself to be very valuable. And I think she has a long career in this league, and hopefully, it's with us as long as humanly possible. With Christy, the roster was designed around her presence, the perimeter shooting, the basketball IQ, the savvy, the ability in late games to manage possessions, to be able to have the ball in her hands, and she can make the game-winning shot as well as facilitate a game-winning assist. A two-time champion. Gritty, tough mentally. Those are all things that, why we brought her here and wanted to, we chased her so badly in free agency a couple of years ago. And, she didn't come to the bubble, which was, rightfully so. Many players chose not to last year, the injuries and the setbacks. So this year we have circled as a year where Christy is poised to help us a great deal. And we feel like that's going to give us even more versatility in our lineups because she can play next to any of our perimeter players. So we can play her next to Jordan. We can play her next to Kennedy. We can play her next to Brittany Sykes. And we still have floor spacing and shooting with ball handling and quality defense. And, that's what we kind of been missing as well, during this streak is some of that inconsistency throughout the lineup.
Time for one more, Coach.
Hey, Coach, it seemed like everybody played much better defensively overall. with Liz specifically, I still saw some moments where she was getting frustrated, not so much with the fouls that she was getting, but the calls that she wasn't getting.
Mhm.
And she was having conversations with refs, and that kind of prevented her from transitioning and getting back on defense quickly. Have you noticed that? And have you had conversations with her about when that happens and when she gets frustrated with the fouls?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely noticed it. And we're going to continue to talk to Liz, but she's human, and I've seen it with Shaq, where it's just not officiated the same, and that doesn't mean that there's a bias or she's the only one that maybe sometimes calls are being missed, but it's frustrating, for a player where there's an assumption that just due to her size, the same push or the same bump or the same hit on the arm impacts her just as much as it does a smaller player. But we can't control it. So we just have to figure out a way to play with it, through it, encourage her to finish through all of that contact, make it an and one, even if they don't blow the whistle. And, just keep holding the rope for her teammates more than anything. And then let me do as best a job as I can with the officials.
I think so.
Thanks, everybody.